Yo, yo, yo. What's good, everybody? What's up, YouTube? It's Legit Hustle back in the building. Want to welcome y'all to the bonus session of my monetization mastery course. Well, it's not really a course. It's kind of more of a presentation that I do for business owners. Typically, these type of presentations I would do privately in Zoom chats. But in order to expose my material to a larger audience, I decided to share some of this content on my YouTube channel. Again, hopefully to maybe expose some of the basics of what I talk about and what I do as an automation agency to my growing YouTube audience. So I would like to thank everybody that came out. I want to thank everybody that is watching this live or watching the recorded version of this after I finish the live. It don't matter when you see it. Y'all know how I am. I give everybody a salute, and I also want to give you my sincerest, most heartfelt gratitude for being here with me, because you could have been anywhere else. Right now, you could be watching anything else, but you're here with me. Another thing, too, the landscapers are doing some work today out there, so if you hear some stuff, so the leaf blower or lawnmower or something, that's the landscaping guys. I tried to wait until they was pretty much done. They got started early, but it's still a little bit going on outside. So if you hear some of that, my apologies. I'm gonna try to cut that down to a minimum. But without further ado, before we get started, y'all know how we do, man. We're gonna kick this thing off with a little music. You feel me? So welcome to Legit Hustle, and we about to get started in a minute. Let's go. I want to hear my song, so I got to cut my headphones back on so I can jam out to my own shit. Y'all know what I'm saying? Yo, yeah.
Rest in peace,
Yo, man, this one goes out to everybody out there getting it on there.
and every
You
other
know what I'm
soul.
saying? However you getting paid, however you pay your bills, hopefully it's legit. You know what I'm saying? But even if it ain't, do the best you can, you know what I'm saying? And get it on your own. Yeah, West Coast, slow motion. Waking up the morning views of the ocean, freshen up your swag, roll up your neck back, 40 on your hip, dip to the west side. Between the trees and the breeze is where you reside. You let the 6-4 dip slow side to side. The good life, no longer on that hood stripe. Your kids best, you can't fetch, they doing all right. On top of that, today you rhyme with your lady. Yep, that's your baby. Play with her, they must be crazy. Had the hood going crazy when them shop doors open. Fine cuts in the city, that's what you been promoting. Plus it's clear to see that every real G is positively positive to their community. Productivity, that's the slogan. Pushing back on the force is trying to stop us from growing. They can't hold it back. When the door of opportunity opens up for you like a Cadillac, you ain't having that. You came too far to try and travel back. And plus that's way too whack. So when the plans stay rolling and the dope keep folding while your life unfolding, then you keep going. Never mind the haters, can't make or break you. Where will hustle take you when your faith don't forsake you? Yeah, it feels good when you getting it on your own. Pushing fly wheels, putting families in fly home. But you gotta stay strong when you're walking on your own and turn BS a rare when life ends you stone. It feels good when you getting it on your own. Pushing fly wheels, putting families in fly home. But you gotta stay strong when you walking on your own and turn BS a real life. But don't expect it to be easy breezy. Size being cheesy, it's slightly greasy like an Eskimo. Trying to sell your bro that though he love the pole, his ass still ain't free. The truth is you take the good with the bad. If it's worth it, then on purpose, it ain't easy to be had. But don't let it stop you, cause unless they pop you, then you gotta know the wind's already in the bag. It takes thick skin to walk amongst men that don't comprehend the grind that you're living in. Unfortunately, it usually proves to be negativity from friends and your family. But when you focus, you can't get caught slipping. You cool ranch while you dipping. Fly with eagle, not chickens. And you bound to see between you and me that there's no enemies. And yes, success is proof. Me, I'm still noodle flowing in the booth. If you need more proof, go and check me mirror. Cause it couldn't be clearer that you're bound for the top. So stay on your grind and don't you dare ever stop it. With roadblocks, acting mad cops. It only means you're just a mirror, homie. Just watch. Ain't need to be silent when you're made of iron. And for winners like you, there's no such thing as trying. It feels good when you're getting it on your own. Pushing fly whips, putting families in fly homes. But you gotta stay strong when you're walking on your own and turn BS a bread when life gives you stones. It feels good when you getting it on your own. Pushing fly wheels, putting families in, fly home. But you gotta stay strong when you're walking on your own and turn BS to bread like you stone. And there you have it. You know what I'm saying? This goes out to everybody out there getting it on their own. Like I said, you over there, feel me? The fade, all the barbershops, hair salons, nail salons, massage parlors, dentist office, soul food restaurants, whatever you do, man. You work for yourself, it's your anthem right here, man. It's my salute to you. I see you get it on your own. If you employ other people, you're a real life hero. You know what I'm saying? Salute. Yeah. Keep getting it on your own. Yeah, keep getting it on your own. That's the theme song. Y'all know Legit Hustle. Over here, we about people who getting it on their own. You know, self-employed, entrepreneurs, small business owners, anybody out here getting it on their own, man. That's what Legit Hustle is about, and that's who I represent, folk. That's who we rocking out for. That's what it's all about. So, without further ado, let's get directly into this presentation today. So, monetization mastery. Now, the GEMS framework is my personal consultative strategies that I use. GEM stands for General, Extension, and Monetization, right? So each one of those letters in the acronym represent a different consultative process for a different end result, right? Whether it be just general type of automation, whether you're trying to extend what you already do, or maybe you're looking to start monetizing or creating other streams of revenue, and you want to look at how AI and automation can help you in that. That's primarily what the GEMS framework is about, right? So, like I said, we ain't gonna spend too much time talking about it. We're gonna get to it. Before we do, though, again, special shout out to my client Yvette Nelson over at New Freedom Financial here in Albany, Georgia. As a small business owner, as a self-employed person, I'm sure you understand the need to have good credit, especially if you're in a situation where your business or your venture needs funding, or you potentially need to be able to secure funding at a later date to get you through a rough patch, whatever it may be. Your personal credit is very important regardless, and I personally recommend her and her team, not just because they're clients of mine, but they're really, really solid individuals and good people over there, man, and they're going to take care of you. So if you need your credit done, regardless of what state you're in, please holler at my friend Yvette Nelson at New Freedom Financial. This is her contact information. I'll try to remember to drop the link to her website in the comments at some point. Or if anybody pull up during the live stream and want to find out more about how to get in contact with her, I can drop you a link, and that way you can go check her site out and find out a little bit more about what you need to do to start getting your credit right. All right. Also, I want to encourage anybody that if you're interested, feel free to go pick up a copy of one of my books from my Shopify store. I have some on many topics. Some are just kind of towards specific industries, and some are just based on business in general. So if you would like to grab a copy of any of my published works, or find out how to attend any of my private courses and my classes, or if you'd like to schedule a consultation with me to see how you can start incorporating AI and automation into your business, then feel free to hit me up through my Shopify store. Y'all give me 1 second. I had to leave the air on in here for just a second because it's hot as hell down here in Georgia, man. I'm sweating in here like I'm outside. So give me a second. Let me cut this air off. I'll be right back. Yeah, I had to get a little bit of air going off in here, man. It's just hot down here right now. All right, so let's go and get into this, man. So one of the major things about automation and AI for us as business owners, if you're self-employed, whether you're a content creator, whatever you're doing to earn a living or make money on your own, time management is a major factor. We all want to be successful. We all want to grow and see our businesses become these big successful things, right? But with that comes more responsibility, more moving parts. So you need to manage your time better. And this is one of the major ways that AI and automation really helps those of us who work for ourselves. It helps eliminate some of the chaos that comes along with working for yourself. Another big deal is inconsistent marketing. Now, for those of us who, again, work for ourselves or self-employed, small business owners, whatever, content creators, whatever, inconsistent marketing will kill your business. As it's been said for many, many years, marketing and advertising is literally the lifeblood of any business, right? If you don't find a way to market yourself, if you're not advertising or promoting what you're doing in some way, you're really going to hamper your ability to grow and your ability to be financially successful in what you're doing if your marketing is consistent. Marketing is all about reaching the people that you need to reach. It's about bringing a prospective buyer together with the producer or provider of a service together. That's what marketing does. It's like the handshake between your business and a new potential or even existing customers. But when your marketing is inconsistent, it's really hard to maintain any growth, any type of momentum or things that you have going on, right? And to be totally transparent and honest with you, this is one of the reasons why I have started live streaming. It's because I'm not really active on social media. I tend to meet people through word of mouth or through networking. I do some email marketing and things like that. But I needed to be more consistent and have more of a consistent presence on social media and on platforms like YouTube, where I can reach new customers. So I'm speaking from personal experience when I say that you have to be consistent in your marketing efforts, no matter at what stage of business you are in, right? Sometimes when I talk to clients, I use large corporations as an example. And so to illustrate this, I'll use, let's say, McDonald's, right? All of us at this point in our lives know very well what McDonald's is, especially here in the U.S., right? We know McDonald's. Somebody say go to McDonald's, you're not wondering what's McDonald's. You know what McDonald's is. But how much money does McDonald's spend on advertising every year and marketing? Billions. They probably, billions. Yeah, they probably spend billions. If not billions, definitely into the hundreds of millions probably on marketing. And that's a company that we all already know. They'll spend millions of dollars on a Super Bowl ad. Why? Because in business, you have to consistently place yourself in front of the people that you hope to sell your products and services to. That's marketing. Being top of mind is the ideal goal. When someone says, hey, we getting ready to go on break at lunch, man. I'm going to go to lunch break. What y'all want to grab to eat? McDonald's might pop up in your head because it's always in front of you. So even though they're already well known, they continue to market and advertise themselves consistently so that they stay top of mind with their existing customers and potential customers, people who maybe never even eaten McDonald's, but they're still going to consistently put that out there. And we as small business owners and self-employed individuals, we have to do the same. Another thing or area where businesses, as small business owners, as self-employed individuals, is in the area of client engagement, right? One of the most important things when you're marketing or engaging with current want to avoid is you want to avoid gaps, right? I don't know why I don't know why this stream is freezing like that, but for some reason it's freezing. I don't know if it's messing up on your end. I think everything's working properly. But, oh man, this is terrible. Let me see. God, give me 1 second. I'm not even sure if this thing is still going. All right. So I'm not sure. It's freezing or whatever's going on that end. I'm not really sure what's going on with YouTube today. I know I was on a live earlier, and Red Supreme, whose live I was on earlier today, his stream was doing the same thing on my phone. So I don't know if it's something with my internet connection right now or what's going on. But anywho, client engagement gaps. So what's the client engagement gap? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a gap in the engagement between you and a potential customer or a potential client, right? A gap could be they came on your website, they filled out a form to be contacted, but you didn't contact them. Or maybe you took too long to contact them. And when things like that happen, it increases the odds and the probability that that person is going to go elsewhere and buy maybe that same good product or service from someone else, a potential competitor of yours, right? So in business, you want to solidify your business in a way that you don't have those kind of gaps. In sales, there's a thing called speed to lead, meaning how fast do you get the lead versus when the person filled out the information. How fast do you contact that sales lead versus when the person initially filled out the lead form or whatever it is, or however it is you get your leads, right? So in business, closing those gaps, making sure that you're not having those types of gaps in your engagement with prospects and clients is a major area that AI and automation can help you in, virtually eliminating any room for gaps in your contact because it's automated, right? And AIs and automation don't take breaks. So they don't have to go on lunch. They don't need a vacation. There's no such thing as maternity leave for an AI team. So the reality of many small businesses is that you have to deal with the unpredictability in your cash flow. As your business grows and scales, you have to be able to coordinate between the different moving pieces. We all want our business to grow and be successful, but do we put enough thought into the new moving pieces that growth and size is going to create? And how do we make sure that all moving parts and all pieces of our venture are working in harmony and being well coordinated with each other, right? How well is the marketing team communicating and coordinating with the production team? How well is the production team coordinating and facilitating things with HR or whatever the case may be, right? So as your business grows, you have to make sure that things are coordinated. And another thing, if you work for yourself already, then you know very well the need to be organized. Especially, I'll be drinking coffee like a mug. So if y'all see me when I be on live, I'll be doing that, man, because I've probably been drinking coffee all day. But yeah, so the need to be organized is another big thing. You know, there's not always, but it's kind of this cliche image of the small business owner, you know, sitting at a desk, and they desk probably look like what mine look like right now. You know what I'm saying? Cluttered. There's notes over here and notes over here. I got notes over here. I got electrical tape right here. I got a microphone right here. You know, and so you understand and you know from experience that when you work for yourself, being organized is very important. Well, being organized is another major area that automation and AI really helps us as small businesses in, regardless of the size of your business. And if you're a solopreneur, one person operation, you might just be a one person content creator or whatever, but you know the need to be organized, whether it's having a content creation schedule or whatever the case, whatever the need that you have, whatever the workflows are that you have in your particular business, you got to be organized. And the truth of the matter is that most of us that get into business, we're probably not bad at running a business. You know, a lot of the times what we find ourselves doing is we end up trying to do too much. All right, trying to wear too many hats, as they say. Not knowing when to delegate and when to maybe move this task over to this place and let someone else take it. Automation helps you fix all of those things because it gives you a team of AI employees and things like that work for you behind the scenes that make sure that the things that need to get done, that tasks that need to get done. It takes a little bit off of your plate, and again, make sure that you don't have those gaps in your prospect and in your client engagement. So automating your way to success. Now you see these gears right here. This is a very appropriate image. I use my presentation software, which has AI built into it. So when I'm preparing my presentations, a lot of times, most of the time, I let the AI system decide what image to use for a particular slide, right? It makes my job easier. And then I'll go in and change the images if I need to. But when I saw this image, like it really hit the nail right on the head. This is the perfect visual representation of how automation works for your business, right? You see the money. Let's say the money sign represents accounting or bookkeeping or revenue or anything related to money. Let's say the chart that you see down here in the bottom left of this picture represents the executive people, the people that have to review the information and the stats and the this and the that. And all the other cogs in this little simple machine that you're looking at represent various moving parts of a small business, right? Well, the thing about automation and why it's so powerful and how it's really capable of helping you in your endeavor to be successful is because like these gears fit together and they all move harmoniously. That's what automation does for you and your business, especially when it's done properly. When it's done properly, those gears sync up, line up, and everything's functions as it should. And ideally, you want it to require as little input from you in order to do that as possible. And when you're able to do that, then you're able to receive the most benefit from it. Well, what happens with that? When your business flows, when your company has automations and things like that working behind the scenes for it, it helps you boost your consistency and the quality of your output. In the private presentation that I do on this, and I think the one I did last weekend, which was on the same topic, I used the example of Henry Ford to illustrate the power of consistency, because Henry Ford introduced the assembly line into manufacturing, which was based on the information that was learned by George Washington Carver in studying plants, which is why it's called an assembly plant, because the entire manufacturing process that he introduced, the assembly line, is based off the way a plant functions internally, right? Well, what's the thing about it? Well, everything that functions is efficiently and effectively is usually based on some type of system. The reason why when General Motors or Ford or another big manufacturer especially is producing large number of automobiles, if you go buy a Honda Accord today in Georgia and someone else goes to a Honda dealership today and buys a Honda in California, you're not getting two different products. They may be different colors, they're going to be different VIN numbers, but essentially you're going to get the exact same product, because the assembly line itself is a system that's designed to ensure consistency and a certain level of quality, right? Or use something like McDonald's, for example. My first job I had in high school was at McDonald's. At McDonald's, when you learn how to make a Big Mac, they don't teach you how to make a Big Mac this way at store number 163 in Georgia. But if you go to Virginia, the store 257, they make Big Macs a different way. Because the customer in Georgia is going to get the exact same Big Mac as the customer in Virginia. It's going to be made the same way. It's going to taste essentially the same, because the way you make a Big Mac is a system. So systems, whether it's AI, whether it's making a burger, or whether it's making a automobile, are what help ensure consistency in your output. It allows you to output a high quality product every time, right? So that's what AI and automation does for your business. It adds that consistency in. And when you got the formula right and you got all those gears working together properly, then you're consistently going to put out a high quality, a high value product. And that's the way automation works, or should work for you. Another thing, going back to the customer engagement gaps, one of the problems that we have to be aware of as small businesses. AI, automation, these things help enhance your customer experience. Well, how is that? Well, Let's say someone calls your office or calls your business in the off hours when there's no one there to answer it. Maybe there's a time difference in where they're at and where you're located, right? So they don't necessarily know your clothes, they don't know your hours, but they call your business. Well, that's a potential sale, that's a potential lead, that's a potential customer or client that because your office is closed at that time, you would miss out on. But when you have AI working in the background, the AI can answer the phone calls for you. The AI can answer questions for the person calling, and it can capture their information so that when you do make it back to your business, when you do make it back to your office, you didn't miss the opportunity to perhaps get a new customer, hopefully, right? And that makes the customer experience even better. Like, think about it. How much do we, when we're not in the role of a business owner, but when we're the consumer someplace else, we want a good customer experience, right? We don't necessarily expect perfection from other people, just like we don't want people to expect perfection from our businesses, but we do want to enjoy the experience, right? Well, these things also enhance the experience for the customer. When you have a system that's able to answer messages, whether it's a phone call or on social media or SMS message, and the person can ask their questions and get immediate answers back, that enhances their experience with your business, with your company. And I'm sure I don't need to tell anyone, when people enjoy interacting with your business, when they enjoy engaging with your company, the likelihood that they buy from you, not just one time, but on repeated occasions, it goes up quite a bit. So these systems actually help to enhance the experience that new or existing customers have when they engage with your company. And that's a definite plus. Now let's look at scalability. Now, for those of us that are in business for ourselves, that work for ourselves in 2025, scale is something that you should a term that you should definitely already be familiar with, right? But if you're not, scale just represents growth, right? But not just growth, it represents exponential growth, we'll say, right? Because you can grow in one area. Your business may be growing in one area and suffering in another. So scale can't really be limited down to growth. Yes, they're very similar, but when you're scaling, that means all functions are growing exponentially at the same rate, right? So scale means your sales go up 10%, your production should go up 10%, right? Your marketing goes up 10%, your sales goes up 10%, everything grows at the same rate of expansion. That is what scalability is. AI and automation systems really help you to scale a lot faster than you think possible most of the time, because they do so much and it's automated. You know, think about all the work you have to do. Let's say you're a hairstylist or you're a barber. You know, when you want to grow in a service-based business like that, where you make your money off actually performing services for people, scale is not that it's hard to achieve, but you have to be extremely strategic in how you scale. For example, I'm a barber, I'm cutting hair. When I want to scale my business, there are a couple of different ways I could do it, right? Y'all see me sweating? When I tell you it's hot in Georgia, boy, it's hot. It is hot down here right now. But let's say I'm a barber. When I want to grow and scale my business, I can cut more heads, right? That'll help me grow. But then when I cut more heads, that's going to require more personal energy for myself. How many days can I consistently go into the shop and just cut more? So what do people do in that business when they want to scale? A lot of times you hire an assistant. You hire someone to do the smaller tasks that don't really translate into, necessarily directly into revenue for you sometimes, but it frees you up to do the more important tasks, right? So that is a way that you can look at scaling in that particular industry. It's like, if I can hire an assistant to take care of the more menial tasks, They're important, but they're not necessarily revenue generating tasks. But if I can have somebody else perform those, so I can just focus on the things that actually make me and my business money, then I'm able to grow that business better without necessarily killing myself and having to work so much harder for it, right? That's what AI and automation systems do for your business. They allow you to scale without breaking yourself, without killing yourself, without totally 100% draining yourself energetically. Another thing is data-driven insight. One of the things that I love about the internet and internet-based businesses and all the data that you're able to use when you have the right integrations in your business. Business in 2025 isn't so different from business in 1925. It still essentially comes down to the same thing. And what's that? People. People buy from people. So even though it's 2025, essentially the business is still the same. It's a company, a person, an individual trying to sell or do something with in exchange with to another person. It's still a person to person thing. And people haven't changed that much from 1925. But where it really gets amazing is the information that you have access to now in order to make the best decisions, in order to make the right decisions that's going to actually help your business grow and scale. You got access to that information right now. If you need to find out who's buying more of your products and services, men or women, you can get that information instantly, which means your ability to make decisions gets that much better, that much more refined, right? You're going to spend less time having to redo things. You'll spend less time trying to make up and compensate for mistakes that you made because you had all the important information that you needed to make the best decision already at your fingertips. That's what data does for you. And that's where in 2025, us as small businesses have a heads up on businesses of the past. Let's go back to 1925 again as an example. Now, because of my access to data and my ability to scale and use these systems and have these AIs and automations and things in place, my little solopreneur business can literally compete with Fortune 500 corporations. And I'm a one-man operation, right? I got access to the data. I know why people are doing this. I know when they're doing this. That makes me able to operate much more effectively and much more efficiently as a small business, as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, as a content creator, whatever you're doing, however you hustling, however you're growing, whatever you're working on. It allows you to do it that much better, that much faster, with that fewer errors. And that is extremely powerful. That is something that businesses of the past did not have access to. So let's look at put some numbers to this so that we're not just talking about in theory. We're not talking about how things are supposed to work or how something is supposed to be. Let's look at what it actually is. On average, us as small business owners, we work about 55 hours a week on average. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on, your particular business, your workflows, your schedule, whatever the case may be. But 55 hours is the average according to statistics. But that second number kind of puts a number on what I've been saying for the last 30 minutes all the way up to this point. Now imagine out of that 55 hours that you work every week, imagine if in order to get the same amount of output, and again, y'all excuse me if y'all pick up on the lawnmowers and the guys out there on the yard, but imagine if you work 55 hours a week to make $100,000 a year, but now you only have to work 20% of that time to make the same $100,000 a year. You get what I'm saying? That's what this is. If something can save you 80% of the time, that means it doesn't take you 55 hours anymore to make $100,000. Now it takes you, what's 20% of 55? About 11 hours? Takes you about 11 hours. Where it used to take you 55 hours a week, every week, to make $100,000, these AI systems can save you about 80% of that time. So just imagine. So now If you put in that same 55 hours of work in a week, but you have these systems running behind the scenes and handling certain things for you, now instead of 100 grand a year, that 55 hours might make you 200, 250, 300. And you're doing the same thing. You're working the same amount of hours. The difference is that you have systems in place that handle the tasks that allow you to focus on the things that actually generate you money, that actually generate revenue for your company, that actually help you be profitable, that help you grow, that help you scale. And that's a powerful number. 69% when it comes to customer loyalty. 69% of people, what was the statement again? Personalized communications. If you're able to, going back to the customer experience, the way AI helps enhance the customer experience, the way AI helps minimize those client engagement gaps that we referred to earlier, right? Just imagine 69% of people say that if you give them personalized communications, they're more likely to continue to patronize your business, right? Well, what's a personalized communication? A personalized communication can be an email with their name on it. Instead of sending out a blank email that says, hey, business owner, your email says, hey, Jim at ABC Lawn Care. Or a text message that says, hey, Sierra at Sierra's Hair Care. Or, hey, Sierra, I haven't seen you this week at the shop. Da-da-da-da-da. That's personalized engagement. If you want to personalize an email to everybody in your client list, how long would it take you to go in every email and put that person's name in every single email and send it out? You can't BCC it out, right? You can't CC it out. You're going to have something that personalizes that message. Or what if when people come onto your website, instead of showing them products that are more geared towards someone else, let's say a woman's on your website, what if your system can pick up on that person's gender by whatever information it's using to determine it? So when they visit your website, it only shows them and recommends things that are likely to appeal to a woman. That's what these systems can do, right? So keep these numbers in mind. 55 hours a week, 80% savings, and 69% when it comes to customer loyalty. Those are just a way to quantify the things that I'm talking about, for us to really process what I'm saying, how these things help your business, how they grow your business. And these are real statistical numbers too. I got that. That's real research data. So the power of consistency. Consistent marketing equals revenue growth 3 times faster than those with irregular outreach. Remember earlier when we talked about the value and the power of being consistent in your marketing? Why successful companies consistently advertise, consistently market, even though they're well established? Well, what if you wanted to have a way to grow your business 3 times faster than you thought possible? Did you know that by simply automating your marketing, that's literally what you can take advantage of? Because you're going to ensure that your marketing, your advertising, your promotional efforts are consistent across the board. Not this month because I'm having a good month and I'm feeling good. Not this week because I'm having a good week and I'm feeling good. No, consistently, regardless of what you personally may be dealing with. Sometimes you're not the upbeat, happy guy. You're not the top-notch salesman that you need to be all the time. No one is on 10 all the time. Nobody is walking that fine razor's edge and performing at tip-top peak consistency every time, because we're human. Think about a basketball player. You can be Kobe Bryant, but guess what? Kobe wasn't always 100%. Kobe had flu sometimes. Kobe had an injury sometimes. Kobe wasn't feeling good sometimes. Kobe might have been going through some stuff at home sometimes. So, we're human. So we all have to deal with those things. The difference is these systems don't have those problems. They do what they're designed to do every single time consistently. Also, going back to staying the top of mind, when you automate something like your marketing and your promotion, You are essentially ensuring that you're going to consistently be placed top of mind for that potential client, for that potential customer, or even existing customers, right? And we've talked about this before on other videos, but I'll say it again. The objective in marketing is to be top of mind. That's honestly what branding is about. Branding, when you're branding something, you're putting a stamp on it, right? If you brand a cow, soon as somebody look at that cow, the first thing they know is who it belongs to, because the stamp. Well, when you're building a brand or you're trying to brand yourself, that is what you're seeking to do. You want to be instantly recognizable. You want to be the first person they think about, right? Let's say your brand is a hair care product and that person say, man, my scalp itching. I think I need some. You want your product to be the very first thing they think of to solve that problem. They might have never bought a product from you before, but they bought other products. I wonder if they make a itch shampoo or dandruff shampoo, or maybe I need to get such and such. You see, the objective of marketing is to stay top of mind. Well, when you automate your marketing and promotion, that's exactly what you give your business the ability to do, to stay top of someone's mind by consistently contacting, by consistently being visible, whether it's on social media or whether it's through email, whether it's through text message, however it is you contact your clients and your prospects. Automation and AI gives you the power to do just that. And consistency is extremely important. I'm going to say it's key to building trust. And at the end of the day, trust is what drives sales. What's going on, my brother? What's going on, Big Dog Philly OG? Appreciate you coming through, stopping by to check me out, man. Peace to you too, brother. Salute, Big Dog. But yeah, when you're dealing with sales and marketing in your company, consistency is what builds trust between you and your people, right? Think about it. Let's use something else that I'm intimately familiar with. Let's say you're a barber. Well, if you cut someone's hair excellent 3 times out the month and they come every week, that's not very consistent. You know, who wants to go to a barber where it's a dice roll? You know, I know he gonna mess me up one time out the month. I'm gonna go get a lineup. This might be that one week where he pushed me back. Nobody wants to do that, right? But when you consistently deliver at a certain level, that consistency is what builds trust in you, your business, your team, whatever it is you got going on. And that consistency and trust is what leads to sales. And the more that you can be consistent, the more that you can build that trust, the more sales that you're going to be able to generate for your team, for your business, for whatever it is that you got going on, right? And that is the power of consistency. Now, typically when we're talking about automation, there's 2 types. There's internal automation and there's external automation. Internal automation are the things that don't necessarily come into contact or that the prospects and clients and customers are going to see. So let's say you need to make sure that you consistently post, right? Well, most of the platforms now have a way for you to automate your posting. But even if they don't, you can build a system yourself, or even if you don't want to use their systems, you can automate your own systems to consistently schedule when your content gets posted. Maybe it sends you a reminder, says, hey, don't forget to post today, right? The people that follow you on social media are not going to see that reminder. Only you're going to see that reminder, but that reminder is going to help you stay consistent. And again, the name of this lecture, if you will, is From Consistency to Cash Flow. So a social media scheduling app is something that increases your consistency. Customers don't see it, but it helps you be consistent. Client database management. I have a couple automations that I built for my company that run on the back end that are strictly about keeping my databases clean. I have one. Let me think, 1 or 2. I got one or two that actually scrub my Airtable databases, right? To make sure I don't have duplicate contacts in there, to make sure it's not necessarily missing information on my prospects and my clients' profiles. And then I have one that goes through my business email and let's say when I get messages about non-delivered emails, or I get messages about things in my system, like if an error occurs and I need to go in and check it, I have automations built in that'll actually handle all those things for me, or at least alert me to the fact that I need to go check my system. Something went wrong on the back end, right? Customers don't see that, but those things help you to be that much more consistent, that much more able to consistently put out high quality work, high quality products. Content generation. Now that's nothing new. I hope y'all can hear me, because like I said, I don't know, man, they've been cutting grass a long ass time. But content creation. Now, yes, the people on the inside are going to see the finished result, but you have to create the content, right? So at this point in 2025, we're all familiar with AI generated content, right? But what we don't necessarily understand is how much time it saves the content creator, or how much time and energy it saves the business owner, who maybe needs to be less concerned about creating content and more concerned about performing the services for their clients, or more concerned about making the sales for their business. So if I don't have to spend 10, 15 hours a week producing, editing, and doing all these other things to make consistent content, that's where AI generated content comes in. And these are internal use cases. But my bad, I'm sorry. My apologies. Now we're going to talk about some external use cases for automation. So we're familiar with chatbots. It's 2025. We've all gone to a website or a page or had an app, and we know how chatbots work, right? Well, though that is the form of external automation, because that is something that your customers and your clients and your prospective customers and clients are going to actually come into direct contact with, right? So that's a form of an external automation. Also, when you automate your follow-ups, you can automate email follow-ups, you can automate text message follow-ups, you can automate commenting on your posts. You can have it automated so that if someone comments on your post, your system automatically likes their comment, comes in and comments a comment or a reply to their comment. And again, that keeps you engaged with the people on your platform. That keeps you engaged with your prospective customers, your potential clients. And that is another form of external automation, automated follow-ups. AI-powered recommendations. Think about this. When someone is on your website or on your store, let's say you have a Shopify store like me, what if you had a way to recommend things that they're more likely to purchase from you? All right, instead of them having to go on my store and maybe look for something that they don't even know that I offer, you can have a system that will make those recommendations for them based on their previous purchases, based on their purchase history, based on the type of content they tend to watch. You can incorporate all of those types of automations into your business, and that's another type of external automation. Again, the only difference between internal and external automation is whether or not it faces your potential clients. Is it something that's going to allow you to make contact with them, right? If it contacts the clients and the prospects directly or engages with them, that's an external automation. If it's something that's only for you on the inside, as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, then that's an internal automation. Now let's talk about the mindset, because truth of it is that we're talking about monetization. Monetization is a mindset. And one of the things that you have to do in order to really capitalize on that or develop that mindset is you have to go from being busy and thinking in terms of busy to being profitable, right? There are things that we have to do as business owners. There are things we have to do as entrepreneurs that they're not necessarily directly connected to our revenue, right? Because for example, in developing this script, this outline for this presentation, developing the outline itself doesn't generate no money for me, right? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help my business grow, the outline itself. But guess what? It is still necessary because in order for me to come up here and do consistent and meaningful and impactful presentations for you, I have to do these things. I have to develop these outlines away from YouTube, right? But you have to go from thinking about things that simply make you busy to things that allow you to be profitable, things that directly impact your ability to be profitable. And again, that's 100% a mindset. Now, again, we talked about being scalable. We talked about the implementation of systems, be it AI, whether it's Henry Ford in an assembly line or McDonald's making a Big Mac. You need to learn to focus on building scalable systems. An example of busy work is something that you do it, but you're going to have to do it every single time. I'm busy. Oh yeah, I got this to do, and I got this to do, and I got that to do. Well, you're busy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it don't necessarily mean you're profitable. And you might be doing things and focusing on things that you can use and turn into a system that means I ain't got to do this every day. I can turn that to a system. Once you systemize your task, once you're able to turn the things to work, what we call workflows in my industry, when you're able to automate your workflows, that is what allows you to scale your business. That is what actually allows you to grow your business. Systems are probably the most important concept to understand when you're in business. You know, we tend to, when we're inexperienced in business, when we're new in it, we tend to think in terms of tasks. We tend to think of Smashing Idol. What's going on? Peace, my brother or sister. I'm not sure who that is. I just want to say thank you, man, for y'all pulling up. Y'all see I'm trying to finally, after years of change, really like taking seriously growing my channel, man. So I appreciate all y'all pulling up, bro. But again, systems are a major thing. As an entrepreneur, content creator, self-employed person, whatever you categorize yourself as, the better you get at thinking in terms of systems and building systems, not just tasks to do. A task is I got to cut this hair, right? A system is the customer walks in, someone greets them, they get sent to the right chair, someone performs the service, they pay, they have a good experience, they leave. Same end result, but if you're thinking simply in the terms of tasks, say cutting a head, and not in terms of the system, because you can't necessarily duplicate the cut, but the system makes it so that you don't ever have to try to. The system is what brings the consistency into it. The consistency brings in the quality. The consistency and the quality bring in the trust, and the trust is what brings in the revenue and sales, right? So that's where a lot of the power of these things come in. But even though we're talking about AI and automation, those of us who are in business for ourselves and entrepreneurs, whatever you may be doing, getting it on your own, like my song at the beginning said, it's a mindset. And that's one of the places that people tend to fail when they get into business. Oh, all right, my bad. Yeah, I see you, Smash. All right, appreciate you, bro. Man, thank you again. And so as an entrepreneur or a business owner, a lot of the things that present challenges for us when we first starting is the mindset. The mindset of an employee is different than the mindset of a person who works for themselves, who's self-employed. But guess what? The mindset of a person who is self-employed is different from the mindset of a person who runs a business. Well, what's the difference between being self-employed and running a business? A self-employed person has to do the work themselves. You're self-employed. A business owner doesn't necessarily do the work themselves. They own the business, right? But the mentalities are different. It's like one has the mentality of being the worker bee, and the other one has to have the mentality of a king or a queen or a king, right? Two different functions. Both are important. Both can lead to you doing well in life, but they're different mindsets. Well, when you're talking about monetizing and when you're talking about being able to really grow and scale your businesses, it's a different mindset. And that's where, especially when I consult with clients, that's one of the biggest challenges that I run into is having to help people understand, especially in 2025, you have to adjust your mindset. You get what I'm saying? And that's not some hype. That's not some feel good motivational shit. That's the reality. To be, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the ESBI, right? The ESBI quadrant: the employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. Most of us start off in life as an employee. But as you grow and you get better at it, a lot of times we transition into working for ourselves and becoming self-employed. And that's a different mindset. But then when you want to go from being self-employed to being an actual business owner, that's a little bit of a different mindset. But when you want to go from being a business owner to an investor, that's a little bit of a different mindset. But they all build upon each other, right? When you're a good employee, you're probably going to be good at being self-employed. When you master being self-employed, you're probably going to be a good business owner. And when you master being a good business owner, you'll master being an investor, because you know what a successful business takes. You know what a successful business looks like. So I said all of that flumbaggery, or whatever you want to call it, just to say that the biggest thing that I want people to take away from this presentation is that it is a mindset. Yes, I can build you an automation system. Yes, I can build you an app. And it will do all these things that we're talking about. But at the end of the day, the success actually comes from your mindset. And if you don't take anything else away from this presentation, I want you to keep that in mind. Another thing that you have to think about as far as a mindset change: automation, one automation can not only impact multiple streams of revenue. One single automation in your business can turn one stream of revenue into 2 or 3 or 10 from one automation, depending on what the function of that automation is. And that's a different thing. It's like, again, I'm a barber by trade originally, so I use that environment a lot of times in my presentations, right? So if I'm a barber, it's like I can cut one head, but as soon as I finish cutting that head, I'm not going to get paid for that one head. What if I cut one head, I charge $40, $50 for that haircut, but instead of that person paying me, 4 more people walk in off the street and just give me $50 and walk out? Now, that's totally unrealistic, right? That's not going to happen. I'm not going to cut somebody's head one day and then 4 people are going to be like, oh, that was great, and just walk in and give me $50 each for that one cut, right? That's not realistic. But in reality, that is what automation allows you to do in your business. It allows you to turn one stream of income into multiple streams of income. It allows you to turn one simple automation into new forms of revenue that maybe you never even thought about. And that's where the monetization comes in. That's why this is my monetization course in my GEMS framework. It's because I want people, especially my clients, I need you to start thinking in terms of a person who is thinking in terms of scale, who is thinking in terms of systems, who is not thinking about being busy, who is thinking about being profitable. And again, that doesn't make you greedy. It doesn't make you any of those things. It makes you an astute business person. Because at the end of the day, every business, it doesn't matter if it's for profit or non-profit, it only exists to make money. That is the role of every business. You can be the most kind-hearted, loving person that you want to be. But when you're in business, you have to know that the purpose of a business is to make money. It doesn't make you greedy. That's the mentality that you have to have. And you have to protect that thing. You have to make sure the decisions that you make are going to complement and build to that end. So as opposed to thinking about being busy, you have to think about what's profitable. This, I could do this and I would be busy and I would accomplish a task. Or I can do it this way and I can increase my profitability. And you have to learn to think that way. Again, that's a mindset. So coming to the end of this, I want to offer everybody a special offer. If you love to have a conversation with me, or you want to schedule a consultation and find out how exactly that you can benefit from these types of things, from automations, if you have some ideas and you just want to figure out what your options may be, I normally charge $250 an hour for a consultation, but when I start doing some of these more business-based lives, I'm gonna do special offers for the people that pull up. So I'm gonna drop a special link into the chat, and it'll only be available in the chat for attending. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Let me drop this there right quick. All right, that link that I just dropped in the chat, if anybody clicks that link, like I said, I have a very special offer, very special offer from $250 to $99. So you will get that same consultation with me for just $99 instead of $250. And this is a big thing to remember. That money is not just to talk to me. What I do is I apply those fees that I charge my clients directly to the cost of their product. So let's say I need to build you a custom automation solution, or I need to build you even a custom app. That consultation fee is actually the down payment on your solution. It's not just to talk to me, right? Because I'm not really in the business of just talking to people. As someone who runs an agency, my job is to solve problems for you. So that's what I seek to do. All right. So if you click the link that I just dropped in the chat, if you're here live, I don't know if you'll be able to click that link later if you watch it on the replay or whatever, but that link again will save you a lot of money on it. So again, I thank everybody, man, for coming out. And this has been the Monetization Mastery course. This is the bonus session. When I do these on Zoom or in private groups, they're normally about 2 hours long. Right? Appreciate it, Smash. Hey man, I'm gonna tell you something, bro. You know, when it comes to business, I'm all about being profitable. I don't just want to be profitable. I want to see my clients profitable. Like, my success as an entrepreneur is based on how successful my clients are. If I can't really solve problems for you, if I can't really help you, then I can't consider myself successful, even if you paid me for something, right? So with that being said, I try to make sure that I always provide genuine value to people. And a lot of times when you talk to people about being a consultant, they think it's just you're paying somebody to talk to them. No, as consultants, we're not paid to talk to you. We're paid to solve your problems, right? That means I got to know how to put together the team. If it's something that I can't do by myself, I have to be a project manager. If it's something I can do for myself, then I got to put my web developer hat on and build you an app, build you a system, right? But I try to make sure that I always give people way more value than it costs them. So, it's not always about the money. At the end of the day, I consider my success to be based on my client's success. If I can help you do something a little better, then I consider what I did successful, not just because I got some money from it. But I appreciate the love, though, man. I thank y'all for showing up, pulling up, and rocking out with me. All right, before we go, man, we're going to jam out to one more of my songs. Let me see what I got queued up right now. I think this is Victory. Yeah, we're gonna rock out to Victory. All right, so this is my song Victory. This is like my shout out to everybody, man. If you ever been through anything, if you ever had to overcome any challenges, if you just a person who don't like what you see going on in the world nowadays and wanted to see it better, this is my anthem for all of us, man. This is my people song. So I appreciate y'all for showing up, man. Thank you again. And it's your homie Legit. I'm out, bro.
Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt the urge to quit. Don't you give up on your dream. I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you
pains, trying to make it over puddles and avoid the dirty stains of the streets where the rain drinks more than just your pain, and everything you have to lose is everything you have to gain. It's a battle for your mind, for your soul, for your time. Either stay down in the mud or jump back up, get on the grind, trying to catch up in a race when you started from behind, so removed from the lead that you can't even see the line. And the ones who say they love you, the same ones who hold their hand from extending you the kindness that you needed to withstand. The same ones walking blindly with contempt for fellow man. They don't lose a wink of sleep even when they leave you stranded. Fuck them all, just in tall, never mind if you fall. Every hustler takes a L, without those you can't ball. It's a dirty, dirty dance, roll the dice, take that chance. Gotta tighten up your pants to stay a victim of circumstance. Opportunity comes at a glance, get to stepping like a band. If it's school, rap and dance, it don't matter, get your band to the sky up if it takes that to help you feel fly. Who am I to tell you not to when I'd rather see you try? It's a blackout to America, so I'm forced to make these choices. Ramen noodles or the bills while others riding noodles Royce. And then claim to be their leaders, whole time ignore their voices. Time to pay us what you owe us, they are just your first invoice. I suggest you pay up quickly, we are not that good at waiting. We have been too fucking patient, US government is Satan. And the victory was ours, you can quit the time wasting and the stalling, cause it's time Babylon should get to falling. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think by now we all know who the enemy is, right? And we all can see who the enemy is, right? You know what I'm saying? Alright, so it's not a person working next to the job. Probably ain't the person that lives down the street from you. Not to say it ain't some weirdos in all these places that need to get addressed, need to get dealt with. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, man. We got a unique situation with my kid, when your kid, when they look back at our generation, what they gonna see? What they gonna see? A whole bunch of coulda, woulda, shoulda ass motherfuckers? Or they gonna look back and say, hey, I'm on my daddy's part of that generation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I come from that. One more thing I've got to mention, if you listen, I hope you listening. We cannot ignore our kitchen, cause it's full of dirty dishes. We need mothers to be mothers, so our children can be children. We need fathers to be fathers, lead them right and give them wisdom, so our dreams can be reality, not just a bunch of wishes. Whether Muslim, Jew, or Christian, don't just talk it, you should live it. So I'm asking you, what would you do if on you this depended? For our dreams to be reality, not just a bunch of wishes. Figure it is all